Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Adam here with Indie Farm Life. Today I'm going to review for you this Mr. Cool DIY mini split that I installed several months ago. This here is the 12,000 BTU unit that controls one zone, but they do manufacture ones that are multi-zone, I believe up to 4 and 48,000 BTU. I'll walk you through how this unit functions, give you my quick review, and then also quickly walk you through the installation process. To say I've been impressed thus far is an understatement. As you can see and hear right now, this thing is actively running and it's pretty quiet. We're gonna go inside and check out the air handler unit, and then we'll come back outside when we talk about installation. So here we are in the room with the air handler, which happens to be our son's playroom above the garage. When we built this home, this playroom was a late minute addition and not tied into the central HVAC system. Thus, we needed another solution to keep it warm and cool. So let's first talk about how you control this unit. One option, which I am yet to mount on the wall, is this thermostat that functions like any other thermostat would for a central HVAC system. The second option is this remote control, which has a whole lot more of the functionality on the face of it than the wall unit does. So I would say ease of use, this is probably a little bit easier to get through some of the deeper items in the menu, such as turbo mode, timer, etc. One cool feature about the remote is you can set it on follow me mode so that it turns the remote into the sensor for the temperature in the room. Thus, this would then dictate when the unit turns on and off. The third way, and my favorite way to control this unit, is by way of their app. So here we are in the app, and you can quickly adjust the temperature to whatever you desire. You can also schedule this thing to turn on and off at certain times of day. It's got a function where you can set a window of temperature to not fall below or above a temperature, depending upon whether it's winter or summer. Just some really great functionality, and I find that I use this more often than I would use any of the other two options to control the unit. You can also get a log here of when the unit was on, how much you ran it, and keep tabs on your energy usage, which is pretty cool. This unit is actively running at the moment, so I'm going to pause for just a second and let you hear how quiet it is. And I believe right now the fan speed's on about medium. It's a very quiet unit. Sometimes you walk in, you don't even know if it's on until you realize that it's the right temperature in the room. So that's the basic functionality of the unit. I didn't go into great detail. You can look that up on the websites of where they sell these items. I'll link some of that below. But let's talk about the performance that I've experienced, at least on the heating cycle thus far. But in these mini splits and any kind of heat pump, heating is usually more difficult than cooling. Here in a second, I'll put the heat gun to this to tell you what the temperature it's putting out. But several weeks ago, we had a stretch of weather where it hit about -10. Now, this unit is rated down to about -5, and in fact, when we were about -8 one night, it did kind of start to shut down and not produce the heat that you would expect out of a unit like this. However, I do have footage, and I'll throw it in here just a moment, when it was about -2, maybe 1, I think it was 1.1 actually. This thing was putting out 95-degree heat when it was -1.1. We heat the rest of our home with heat pumps and backup propane furnaces, and let me tell you, those heat pumps didn't have a chance at keeping up with what this thing was doing. Currently, it is minus, a little difficult to see here, 1.1 degree. Let's go see what that heater's putting out right now. We're in the middle of Winter Storm Elliott here, so a good time to test this thing. This little thermometer over here says 67.6. The heater's set on 70. Let's see what kind of heat's coming out of this thing. 92.8, 92.6. That way you guys can see that. I'll at least log the high for you. But -1.1. We got air temps coming out of this thing at almost 95 degrees. Okay, 95 degrees. That's pretty incredible. Considering the heat pumps on my house won't do anything close to that. We're burning propane right now. Alright, so now let's talk about output. And I have a temperature gun here to see what kind of heat's coming out of this. I have actually clocked at one point air coming out of this at like 115 degrees. And for the record right now, I believe it's about 30 degrees outside. And on this unit, I believe the cooling side is 22 SEER, which is insanely efficient. And the heating side is like 12 or maybe 14 SEER. I'm not sure if it's quite that high. Again, I'll link everything down below. But if this thing performs in the summertime like it has in the wintertime, this is going to turn out to be one heck of an awesome purchase. So there's a quick overview of the operation and functionality. Again, very, very easy to use, and the app is fantastic. You can even pair with Alexa or Google Home, I believe. So the functionality and those features, A+. Now let's briefly talk about installation. We'll talk about what has to be done up here with the air handler unit, and then we'll work our way down into the outside unit. So the first thing I do before we go any further is turn the temperature down on this thing, because I am sweating. All this sacrifice for you guys. One other quick note, this little, I believe they call it a louver, can move up and down and kind of direct the air where you want it to. Underneath here, if you pull the top off, you got your filter. And then there's also, I believe, a little USB item that connects up here to allow you to use it on Wi-Fi. But as far as installation goes, the first thing you have to do is mount your bracket. It's a lot like mounting a microwave. There's just a metal bracket that you mount to the wall, and they give you a template. You got to try to at least get one or two of them into a stud. And then over here on the right side is where the line set, the electric line, and the drain line leave this unit. And so you have to put about a 3-inch hole, 3.5-inch hole in this wall to feed everything through. The insulation up here, super simple. If you're somewhat mechanically inclined, not a big deal. We'll talk about things that might be a little bit more complex as we work our way down, but up here, very easy. And they give you great instructions, and there's a lot of really good videos on YouTube that detail the install process. I'm not gonna get that detailed, but just know that it is not that bad. I mean, they put DIY in the name of the unit for a reason, right? And for most people, as soon as you pass through this wall, you'd be outside. In our case, this knee wall for this playroom kind of goes through attic space and then down. So I'll explain what I did out there, but just know that in most cases, you're gonna be porting this right through an exterior wall. So here we are back out in the garage. The unit is roughly here, kind of passing through our attic space, and then I have it poking through the ceiling and down. I'll link that line set cover below. Make sure you get the 4-inch, not the 3-inch. That's a fantastic piece. But luckily for you guys, I haven't finished this project entirely. So like I said, the line set connects in the attic and down. So the line set consists of 2 copper lines wrapped in insulation and in and out. Here's the drain line that comes off the unit. And then here is the electrical line that comes from the air handler upstairs and runs out to the condenser. So like I said, in most cases, this would be on the exterior wall, but I opted to keep it in my garage. So the lines come down, pass through a hole that you have to drill, and they give you a sleeve, which I'll show you on the outside. And then I put an immense amount of spray foam here to keep things in place and well insulated. Long term, all of this will look a lot like that as I put a elbow here and put some sheetrock and more insulation around here to clean things up. Now back outside at the unit, here is the sleeve that I was talking about where everything passes through. The drain line running off of the air handler right there. 2 copper lines, the line set, along with the electrical line, come up this way and connect right here. Again, the instructions are extremely easy to follow, and there's a lot of detailed videos out there. But all you really have to do is hook the copper line set up to the unit, both here and in my case up in the attic, just on the other side of the air handler. Hook the electrical line from the air handler behind this panel here. And then as far as power from your home, they vary based upon the size of the unit. This unit actually only requires a single 20-amp breaker, and then you put a disconnect on it. So you have this disconnect here for service purposes. You pull this plastic piece out right here, the whole unit has no power. Flip it over. But literally, guys, this is a piece of 12-gauge Romex coming from my panel, which is inside in the garage here, to here, off a 20-amp breaker to here. And I won't open this disconnect up right now, but essentially there's only 4 wires here. 2 coming in from the house and 2 coming out and hit into this conduit to the unit. Very simple setup. If you're not comfortable doing this kind of work, call an electrician. In the grand scheme, it's a pretty simple electrical connection. When mounting the unit, I opted to put a little concrete pad out here. I was going to use cinder blocks, but cinder blocks will probably settle at some point. So I just formed up a little bitty pad here, poured some Quikrete, and it looks a whole lot nicer than, you know, cinder blocks or any kind of other pads out here. This unit comes with a 25-foot line set here, and you can add to it by buying extender kits. I luckily did not have to. I would advise trying to get the unit within 25 feet of the air handler just to make things easier. The reason this is considered a DIY unit is because these lines come pre-charged and the system is already under a vacuum. Thus, once you make your connections and open up the ports, everything flows as it should, and you don't need to have an HVAC professional come out and vac down the system. That's why it's DIY, if anyone was wondering. Like I said, I am yet to use this unit to cool the room, but the heating cycle has been nothing short of fantastic. It's very easy to use, was very easy to set up. I couldn't be more pleased, and I'd highly recommend that if you're on the fence about installing one of these units, you do it. Anyone who's moderately mechanically inclined could handle this, and if the electric scares you, by all means, please do call an electrician. If you have any specific questions about this unit, please do drop them below in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them, or I'll simply tell you I do not know. I'll post a similar review this summer when things really start to heat up, but I'm guessing the results are going to be stellar there as well. And just for you guys, it's starting up one last time here. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and come back and see me sometime. I always love meeting new folks along the way. Take care, guys. We'll see you on the next video.